Hey everybody, it is January 11th, about 11:30. So I have been thinking about this a lot, and I was gonna go live, but I feel like doing a pre-recorded video would help keep me calm, so I'm gonna go this route. If you have followed me before or watched any of my videos prior, you know that I tend to get very animated and passionate. I sometimes cuss, and so that is why I stayed up very late last night and I put it all into words so that I can just read it to you and get my point across. So I wanted to start with something I found. We are talking about wind turbine safety, and this is a safety regulations for operators and technicians manual. Again, I will not name names of companies, so if you want that, you can personally message me, but I'm not going to go ahead and put that out there. So I want to keep everybody safe. It says on page 3 of the company's safety regulations for operators and technicians manual, point number 2. The company's personnel are instructed to stay away from a turbine by 400 meters, which is 1,312 foot, unless completely necessary. Taken into context, this distance would apply to normal operating conditions. See Exhibit 1. Under abnormal operating conditions, this company expands this distance in consideration of the safety of its employees. Page 10 of this manual addresses the situation of a free-spinning runaway turbine. In the manual, instructions are for no one to be allowed within 500-meter radius, which is also 1,640 feet. This continues on and talks about the danger of falling turbine parts, fires, and other things. But like I said, if you want to read that yourself, I will gladly forward that to you. So now this is what I wrote, and I just want to say that these are my own assumptions. This is what I've put together from what I've researched. I've watched videos, I've read articles, some of that is stated in here, and like I said, if you want those things, I can email that to you as well. I am just trying to make awareness so that people can make their own judgment and make their own decision. You know, it's important that we get involved in our community because, you know what, eventually our kids are going to possibly live here and have families here, and so we have to think way ahead in the future. And sometimes that's hard, but after hearing these things, I don't think you will have an issue. But again, these are just my opinions as a concerned homeowner and mother. I would like to start by making it clear that I believe in renewable energy, innovation, and technology. I just believe that we should be responsible and aware while we do it. For me, it all started with my first commissioners meeting in January. It was a Monday morning at Jasper County Courthouse. I wasn't exactly sure what to expect, but I wanted to go learn more about the growing issue in our county. As I sat there and listened to many of my neighbors' concerns, I began to realize this is something we shouldn't take lightly. So I decided to start asking questions and doing research. I have decided to keep all names and companies out of the video to keep everybody safe. I know many of you have grown up here your whole life, so it may be uncomfortable for you to speak up loudly, with many of the residents being people you interact with or do business with on a daily basis. But here's the thing, our quality of life is in jeopardy. The more I am learning about industrial turbines, the more I am convinced that they are not something I want by my home. I do believe that everyone has their rights, and so, sorry, I got a text message. And so if you feel like wind turbines are something you want on your property or property you own, that's fine. I just ask that my rights to my property and my health are also taken into consideration. That is where having a responsible ordinance in place for our county comes into place. The largest wind turbine in the world right now is in Randall County in West Texas. It is sometimes referred to as the monster. The height of the hub is 426.5 feet above ground. The height to the tip of the blade is 653.5 foot. If you haven't seen a turbine this tall, that's because they aren't common on land. These are typically offshore turbines. If you have ever driven through Northwest Indiana on 65 heading towards Chicago or vice versa, those turbines stand 262 foot to 335 foot tall. Just for a comparison, in no way do I believe 575 foot is a responsible number for the height of these turbines, which is what they are currently proposing in the ordinance. If you need a visual aid, you can compare that to two of the Statue of Liberties stacked on top of each other. Another issue with the proposed ordinance is the distance. The distance needs to be from property line, not my dwelling. And here is why. So I'm going to stop reading for a second and kind of just talk. Right now I'm sitting in front of my house. It's sitting in front of my side door. So this, I guess, would be considered my dwelling. If I was mowing the lawn, I would be along my property line because I have to mow my lawn along the property line. If my kids were practicing their bow and arrow, they would do it out on this side of my house where it is an open field. Of course, it is our property and we own it, so we pay taxes on that, and they should be able to safely do that. They also play soccer, they play tag with our puppy, and we swim. So, the reason why this is like number one issue for me is that it is a safety hazard to have these. They are proposing 1,320 foot from my dwelling. So when I am another, 100, maybe 200 foot from my dwelling, I am in the unsafe zone. Now, please refer back to what I read in the safety manual. The safety manual, in normal operating conditions, they don't want their personnel within 1,312 foot. So to me, that seems very, very unsafe. Even in abnormal conditions, they don't want you within 1,640 feet. So right off the bat, it is completely unsafe to have these near my home. If we continue, we can talk about the health issues. The noise these turbines produce can cause issues. According to the World Health Organization, 30 dBA is safe. Right now, they are proposing 45 dBA. Again, if we're putting safety first, we wouldn't have an issue. There are already many Americans who suffer from sleep loss and anxiety. It can easily cause more of a disturbance for these people. These people I would consider myself and my children. I have children who are very sensitive to energy. They have been diagnosed with sensory processing disorder, ADHD, and anxiety. And I want their health to be protected and taken into consideration too. This is something I added after, so I don't have it written. But another thing that is a concern for me is in the ordinance, they propose 30 hours of flicker a year. Now that would be the shadow. If you're not familiar, a turbine, when it turns, it creates a shadow. And so we call that a flicker. It, could be like your ceiling fan. Now these blades are 116 foot to 220 foot long. So when they create a flicker, it covers an entire acre. And I am not sure how they are going to enforce and regulate 30 hours a year, which if you break that down is equivalent to 5 minutes a day. Now I know that the sun hits my house all day long. I have no trees in my yard. And if I do, they're not big enough to block any kind of light. It's the biggest issue we, have in our home and on our property is the fact that we got sun all day long. So I can guarantee you that there is no way we are not going to get flicker for more than 5 minutes. After these turbines are put up, there is no way to rectify that issue. So I urge you guys, again, to be aware of what is happening. If we continue more, we can talk about the bald eagle that I posted on my Facebook just a few weeks ago. I also posted it a year before that. There is an app called Time Hop, and if you connect it to your Facebook, or your other social media sites, it'll remind you things that happened a year ago. And I also had pictures of this eagle a year ago. These companies get permits so they can legally kill certain birds and a certain amount of birds throughout the turbine's life. Instead of them getting fined for killing an eagle, they will pay a permit so that they can legally do it. You know, to me, that seems extremely, extremely unnecessary. And here's why. The bald eagle came off the extinction list in 2007. Okay, Indiana, the DNR, they released 73 birds, eagles, in by Lake Monroe. I think that's southern Indiana. And since then, they have multiplied, and now we have bald eagles in 82 of the 93 Indiana counties. And so if we start erecting these turbines across the open land where these birds migrate, they're gonna get caught in one. And so that number is gonna decrease drastically. They're going to become extinct again. So we need to keep that into consideration. I know that, you know, animals and animal rights are very important, and so I want to point that out. But while we're talking about animals' rights and conservation, we also need to think about our future and our own rights, our human rights, and our safety too. As a homeowner, I am concerned about my property value. Studies show that residential properties with turbines within 1 to 5 acres lose 39 to 43% property value. My husband and I have only lived in Jasper County a few short years. But since then, we have easily put in over $40,000 worth of work into our home and property. And we fully intend to do more. I would like to recoup that and not lose our investment. At some point, we had talked about selling this home and buying land in Jasper County to build our forever home. And so, you know, we moved here to be able to do that. We moved here to have a slower pace of life. We moved here for the beautiful country views. We moved here for the fresh air. You know, we wanted to raise our kids and livestock and give them a different, you know, we moved from the city. So we moved from Indianapolis. I grew up in Chicago. I know what it's like to be right on top of your neighbors. And so we wanted something different for our kids, our family. This is our American dream. So, you know, this is why it's upsetting to me, is that this is our future. This is what we moved here for, you guys. So if you're sitting here and you're like, oh my gosh, these are things I didn't know about, I could go on and on. Honestly, this video could be super crazy long. I have not even talked about the dangers of ice slinging off the blades, the turbines catching fire. I briefly talked about that. The takedown and decommissioning of these turbines, because if you didn't know, in 15 to 20 years, they want to take them back down. You know, I haven't talked about the 40 truckloads of concrete that they will need to put into the ground to house this turbine. You know, if you look at the carbon footprint that we have to do, that we use to erect one of these out of the ground, and we're not just talking about one, we're talking about probably hundreds. Once, if it was up to them, they would do hundreds, and they would do more than hundreds. Google it, you'll see. We're never going to get that. It's never going to pay for itself. So do your own research on that. That's not something I am, you know, 100% educated in. I've read it and I know that that is a fact, but I can't talk about that for hours. So please educate me, do your own research. Okay. So what can you guys do? If you're not sure, you know, like me, I didn't know what we can do. I just thought, you know, sit back, put a sign in your yard and see what happens. But you know what? It's clear that our commissioners are not listening to our needs. And so this is what you can do. First of all, if the turbines don't affect you please, please, please speak up for your family and friends. Go to the meetings. They are conveniently at 8:15 in the morning. Most of you probably work. So if you can't make it, tell your neighbor, tell a relative, call someone in your family, one of your friends, have somebody there to represent you and your family. Call or write your county commissioners and plan commission. I will be leaving the names and numbers in the comments of this video. Write letters to your local newspaper, talk to your neighbors and make them aware of what's happening. Ask them not to sign a contract with the wind companies. Help others understand the dangers of having them this close to your home. So bottom line is, you guys, I wanted to make this video so that people who are like me, just now getting into this, learning about this, can easily watch a 15-20 minute video and be somewhat educated on what is happening. Now it's your turn. Okay, it's your turn. Go out there, get educated, tell your friends and family, call your commissioners, call the plan committee, tell everybody you can, because the only way we're going to stop this is if we do it together. So that's what I had to say, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for watching, and please, please don't be scared to speak up. Have a good day.